Welcome back to Notes of a Scientist, a YouTube channel that examines science and pop culture. This is my first reaction video, so if you enjoy it, please subscribe and ring the notification bell. Unwell is a Netflix documentary series that features a different wellness practice in each episode. The episodes follow a similar narrative where they introduce a reasonable follower, sprinkle in a little science to make you question what you just heard, and then nosedive into the deep end of the zealotous followers and close with a little bit more science or an opposing opinion. I really enjoyed it because the series never gives an answer of whether the practice is good or bad. It lets the audience decide. And for me, that's usually a middle ground. The first episode of this series is about essential oils. Essential oils are distilled products usually made from the leaf, seed, or fruit of a plant. The plant is either steamed or boiled in water in a closed container connected to cooling coils, where the steam condenses into a liquid mixture of oil and water in a second container. The mixture separates and the oil is collected off the top of the water. The first people interviewed are two licensed aromatherapists. They are nurses who completed a year of training and 250 clinical hours to become qualified. Both of them promote inhaling essential oils and applying them to your skin to help with mood and pain. Even these licensed professionals raised a few red flags with me. This brings me to things said about alternative medicine that don't mean anything. Number 1, this practice has existed for thousands of years. Thousands of years ago, medicine was a trial and error process of putting things in and taking things out of bodies. Using leeches is a practice that's been around for a real long time, but you know what? You probably shouldn't do it. Number 2, this comes from plants. Well, technically, so does heroin and botulism, so watch out. Number 3, this product is all natural. Okay, the product may come from things that were technically found in nature, but the distillation process, it's not happening naturally. This does not mean that plant-based products that come from nature and have existed for thousands of years are bad, but it doesn't mean that they're good either. We've seen the supporters, we've gotten a dusting of science, and now it is time for the circus to begin. In the center ring, we have lifestyle vloggers, the Z family, led by Dr. Z, who is not a doctor, and Mrs. Z, who is no longer a pageant queen but still wears a sash to church. I really can't with these people. They are con artists. Essential oils have a long history of being snake oil that hustlers who claim to be doctors would peddle to vulnerable people as something that would change their lives. This is why it is illegal for you to say that an essential oil has medical healing properties and sell essential oils. And they bring it up in the documentary a couple of different times. That's why that is. It's not because big pharma and the medical industry they don't like essential oils because essential oils can, cure all of these diseases, and then big pharma doesn't make their money off of their, medicine. And it's like, no, if there was money to be made in the big pharma market on essential oils, big pharma would be making that money. But they can't because they already burned those bridges. Who do you think the hustlers that sold snake oil turned into? Another thing that shows me this guy as a con artist is that none of his evidence is evidence-based. Evidence-based research means that a rigorous test has been performed identically time and time again to achieve a consistent outcome. He doesn't have any of that. His evidence is all experiential stories and personal miracles. And anytime someone tells you that what they're selling you is a miracle, you should just ask more questions. Finally, you can tell he's a con artist because the family trivializes money while insisting that you pay them for a miracle cure. Well, if this cure was really a miracle, and if they really are these hyper-religious devout people that they claim to be, then why wouldn't they just give it away for free? I mean, that's what Jesus would do, right? This family is, of course, so out of touch. The doctor, who's not a doctor, Z, even makes these claims that people on welfare could afford his most expensive course if they skipped Starbucks for 2 weeks. And that's just problematic. Who is spending $40 a week at Starbucks? Number one, is it him? Or does he think that, like, people on welfare are just, like, all in Starbucks all the time? I don't know where the bigotry is coming from, but I feel it. So I'm just confused. Up next is Dr. E. Joy Bowles, and she is a delight. She drops some knowledge about scientific testing in essential oils. And the biggest takeaway from her interview is, yes, there have been many experiments with essential oils and how they affect bacteria in a tray or mice in a lab or even human cells. But none of those explain how essential oils work in the human body. Very few experiments have been done on ingesting essential oils. Bleach is antibacterial. You put it in a plate of bacteria, it'll kill it. But drinking it isn't going to clean your internal organs. The next large chunk of the episode is about the billion-dollar essential oil multi-level marketing industry. Other channels like Cruel World, Happy Mind have covered the MLM angle, and this is a bit light on the science, so check her videos out for more information. 2 things: don't inject essential oils into your veins. And Dr. Boyles also says that MLMs are currently the world's largest experiment on human subjects and essential oils, which is fascinating and brings us to a former MLM essential oils sales rep who developed a toxic reaction to essential oils. There are 2 kinds of negative reactions that I imagine people have to essential oils. The first is a reaction to the oil itself. These can be a chemical burn from topical ointment, a rash, or even anaphylaxis. These reactions would happen near to the first exposure. But what this woman describes is a toxicity reaction. Our bodies filter chemicals out of our blood with our liver and kidneys. When someone drinks alcohol, smokes, introduces chemicals to their body in any kind of way, the chemicals go into our bloodstream and are filtered and turned into waste. This filtration can go wrong in many ways, but what it sounds like is that this woman had so many essential oil chemicals in her body that her liver and kidneys couldn't filter it fast enough. So the chemicals stayed in the blood for too long and create an immune response to flush her system. I talked a little bit about immune responses in my first video, but for this specific woman, it created a rash and severe swelling and inflammation throughout her body. Immune responses have memories, so their bodies know how to handle threats when they see them again. So now, she has made herself allergic to essential oils. The final interview is my favorite. Well, okay, it's like my second favorite to Dr. Boyles because she's like my girl, but this one is really, really good. It's the mom of a special needs child who went to one of the licensed aromatherapists from the beginning. Using essential oils has helped her daughter sleep, and they're seeing improvements in cognition from that. She beautifully sums up how I feel at the end of this episode. Essential oils can be part of a solution, but they should be used with other treatments. I hope you liked this video. Like I said, it was my first reaction, so if you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. And if you would like to see other videos on science topics or you have a science question that you'd like to know more about, please leave it in the comments.